everybody wouldn't mind the repairing of relationships, but in terms of him getting involved in public duties, that's just not going to happen. The half in, half out scenario is not something that is seen as workable within the royal family, because when does he suddenly say, well, I've had enough, I'm going back to America? It just doesn't work.
Well, Prince William has made an intervention for the fighting to end as soon as possible in Gaza. He was visiting the Red Cross headquarters in London, and we can talk to Rupert Bell, TalkTV's royal correspondent. Hello, Rupert.
Good evening, John.
Welcome to you, Rupert. Do take us through. What did the Prince have to say?
Well, basically, in the statement, which I'm pretty sure would have been approved by the UK government, he's basically calling for a humanitarian ceasefire so that the people can be dealt with. And he's also, though, looking at both sides. So in essence, the statement is, I think, reflecting what a great many people are saying. The ceasefire has to come into place so that the people who are being displaced and throughout Gaza need to be looked after. And it's a humanitarian ceasefire that he wants, and that is what he's urging, and trying to make it as non-political as possible.
Yes.
I think that's what we've got to take away from it. How does he dance that fine line from being the heir to the throne and not getting too politically involved in something that, of course, is causing a lot of people a lot of heartache, distress, and I suppose almost at times confusion of how to morally deal with this particular problem.
And it's fair to say, Rupert, isn't it, that he's stayed true to that convention in this intervention. He has stepped in and spoken out on a matter of global significance and global concern, but he hasn't stepped into any sensitive political territory in calling for a ceasefire as soon as it can be done and help for the people that need it.
Yes, and also that the hostages be released as well. The king did actually call, I think, the King of Jordan and another person when the actual all broke in early October. So he stepped in to sort of offer some messages, but it clearly has gathered a pace. And it's with the Prince of Wales having been very much in the sidelines as a result of the illness to his wife and also the king's cancer diagnosis. He's obviously was seen at the BAFTAs the other day. I think Nigel Farage has stepped in saying he should just stick to the BAFTAs. But this is very much in keeping with the way the Prince of Wales wants to operate. We saw earlier in the week his building some social housing now in Cornwall, and this very much chimes with his message. He does want to help, and obviously he's going to, I think in a couple of weeks' time, going to meet Jewish leaders, and also he's been going to see charities who are involved in humanitarian aid. So it's very much in keeping with what he believes in.
Indeed. How is the firm functioning now, Rupert, with the king playing for the time being a diminished role? Is it very conspicuously clear they're doing much less between them now?
Well, I think we've seen the Princess Royal do as much as she can. The Queen has stepped up around the treatment for her husband to do as many public duties as she can, but they are short of numbers. There's no two ways about it, and it's not been helped by obviously the illness to the Princess of Wales, and clearly half-term last week, and the Prince of Wales feeling the need to be at home to make sure that he can look after not only his wife but his children as well. So that is why they are left very short-changed at the moment, but the Prince of Wales is now getting back out there, as we've seen over the last couple of days. The children are back at school, and the word is that the Princess of Wales's recovery is going along smoothly enough for him to be back out on the road again and putting himself in the public line. And this is a pretty bold returning to duties by making statements on the situation in Gaza.
And what about Prince Harry? What are people in royal household circles saying about that? We had a lot of talk, didn't we, about Prince Harry seeking a fuller role while his father was partially indisposed, and that was not wanted. What are they saying now?
Well, I still not wanted. I think everybody wouldn't mind the repairing of relationships, but in terms of him getting involved in public duties, that's just not going to happen. The half in, half out scenario is not something that is seen as workable within the royal family, because when does he suddenly say, well, I've had enough, I'm going back to America? It just doesn't work. So I don't see that happening. Obviously, though, I'm sure the king would like relationships restored between other members of his family, but that's a long way off. And it is an interesting thing. There is a bit of a PR battle between the Sussexes and the Waleses. We saw last week with Harry and Meghan at the Invictus, a year out from Invictus gathering in Canada. And then on Sunday, we see the Prince of Wales announce his involvement in building some social housing in Cornwall, and this as well. So the PR battle between the two still continues.
Rupert Bell, TalkTV's royal correspondent, thank you.